It's the Redirect Podcast. Search industry research, discussion, and analysis from the Black Truck Media and Marketing Headquarters. And now, redirecting you to the Black Truck team.
Welcome to episode 47 of the Redirect Podcast. It's Friday, May 25th, 2018. I'm Jason Dodge, founder of Black Truck Media and Marketing. I'm joined this week by Ashley and Patrick from the Black Truck team. Happy GDPR Day.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, such an event.
I hope you all are compliant.
I hope everybody's read through all of their update emails, their privacy policy
I
update
hope
emails.
no one's listening and saying, wait, what? What's GDPR?
Oh my goodness.
I've seen a lot of that.
Yeah, that's going to happen.
I think that's really where I wanted to start. Is that it should be no surprise to you all that today is the day where the hammer is supposedly supposed to drop, and GDPR is the new norm. Biggest changes that hopefully everyone has made is anything related to, I think we've all got privacy policy statements from any app that we use. And certainly by the time of listening to this episode, you've hopefully changed your settings in Google Analytics. It was something that we made a company-wide decision, and anybody we work with directly, even some that we worked indirectly with, there was a very much a statement that we put out and how to approach that. And, if you have not made those changes now and you are just getting this notification, then your Google Analytics data retention policy is going to default to, is it 26 months?
26 months.
Which doesn't affect your aggregate reporting. This is something we didn't discuss on the last episode, I don't believe. So it does not affect aggregate reporting, but it will certainly affect if you're doing custom segmentation and reporting, if you have any kind of user data, events, things of that nature, that will impact you. So you should probably read up on that, and we certainly have some resources we'll share and link to. And if you haven't gotten that taken care of, you probably should take care of it, because you cannot, it's not retroactive. Google's going to default that to 26 months, which means anything prior to that is going to be gone in those custom segments. In the custom segments, again, reiterate, it will be in those custom segments, not in your aggregate reporting.
And tell me, Jason, if I decide to go back later and switch that to 50 months,
No.
Can I get that data back?
No, it is not retroactive.
So that means the data is gone.
Gone.
That's gone data.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. So your aggregate reporting in terms of inbound traffic, is being able to go back 5 years and seeing organic search trends and things like that will be there. Certain user level data will not be there, which if most people probably are not tracking at that level,
Right.
that I've run across, unless you're running some little, I would say a little bit more sophisticated reports. So anyways, moving on, what do you guys have to share this week?
I'll talk. So I've been head down audit heavy lately. It seems like all I've been doing lately is analyzing sites.
Technical analysis.
Technical analysis of sites. And so my brain is real keyed up on finding flaws and errors. And I found it. We have our own process in-house here on how we go about doing that, and I feel pretty good about it. And was doing some reading, and I came across an article that is 12 important elements, and it actually lines up pretty closely with a process we do.
Some of the stuff
here.
that we work on.
Yeah, and there was just a few that I wanted to touch on and just kind of do almost like a refresher, because some of these, depending on what your role as a digital marketer are and what you focus on, might be no-brainers, or they could be oversights. So sometimes it's good to just go back and refresh and talk about the basics. And the number one item on this article, and what's number one in my heart, is
images?
No,
Mobile.
No, in an audit level, crawls, a search crawl.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's the crawl for me. In looking at that report that comes back out of it, the spreadsheet, looking at it like the matrix, I can see so much about a site there's so much data, and what we use is Screaming Frog.
Yeah. I think to back that up is that while we'll use Screaming Frog for some things, there's other tools. There's plenty of tools that will crawl. Moz's site crawler, Screaming Frog, SEMrush, SEO CEO or Web CEO. I mean, there's a myriad of tools that you can use. All for the most part are going to kick back similar data, but I would say Screaming Frog's kicking us back geeky. What I'll just dub as geeky. It's going to be, when we export it, it's a CSV that you've got to have some knowledge about what you're looking at. Right. It's not. I wouldn't advise someone who's just stepping into SEO to say, "Oh, everybody's talking about Screaming Frog, and I'm going to go do this." It might be a little overwhelming.
Yeah, I mean, I've been in this game for 5 or 6 years now, and I've been using Screaming Frog for probably 4 years, and I'd say I'm probably only touching 50% of the power of Screaming Frog, just because there's that much in-depth geekiness into it that can really be beneficial. On this checklist here, I'd say, in the way I operate things, a quarter of it could be associated with what I see in a crawl and the way I personally analyze a crawl report. A big one is going to be status code errors, redirects.
Status code errors meaning 200,
HTTP
404s, 301s, 302s.
Right. Lately, we've gotten into some discussions with clients and other agencies that we work with about 302s versus 301s, and a lot of people don't realize the difference between temporary and permanent and the message that sends back. There's even some literature out there that says that 302s are no big deal, and I am in the camp that I disagree with that.
And I think that the majority of industry professionals that are worth their salt would also agree that, given the option, why would you choose that?
Right.
Did the page actually go away or the structure actually change?
Yeah.
Why would you even elect for a 302?
The pushback that we've gotten has come from maybe more of the developer end of things, and they might not have no knock on developers, but there is a communication difference between what the developer is doing and seeing versus what the marketer is doing.
I think that just goes to show you too that if you're doing a crawl, what you're talking about in kind of the first part of technical analysis is something that you most certainly would want to do before you launch into a website redesign, and start to have that conversation with your developer up front on, hey, these are the things that I'm seeing now, so that they can be corrected as you move forward into the new site, or right after the fact, or in a development environment even, to be able to say, these are the things that I am seeing, we need to correct them, here's the reasons why. Arm yourself with a little bit of knowledge with the crawl data, as well as a little bit of background on why things may or may not be good.
Right. Another aspect, this touched on keyword cannibalization, and it's something that I don't necessarily agree with the way the article is written, but the way my thought on it is, the article is written to not have keywords line up on multiple pages, whereas my take on it is have keyword concepts or themes line up across the site, or maybe a segment of a site, to help prove authoritativeness across the site. You want to be that thought leader on this subject, and if you might have 4 products that are similar yet different enough to be different products, you still need to be seen as a thought leader. So keyword A, which is your default maybe baseline product, might show up across several sections of your site. Doesn't mean they're going to be considered duplicate content, and I don't see that as that they're going to compete with each other, but they're going to emphasize and send signals that you're an authority on the subject.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. That, and maybe the article could be better defined, that your baseline or your seed keyword theme might be kind of synonymous with the site across, so across the board, like I sell automotive parts, or maybe I sell specifically to the Jeep brand, so I sell Jeep parts. But then I certainly don't want my pages cannibalizing one another based off model, meaning Jeep Wrangler versus Jeep Cherokee versus. So I think more importantly, when you get into some larger sites or you get into your ongoing content marketing strategies with blog posts and case studies and resources and things like that, that's where you start to get more diversified and you start to get worried about cannibalization and reusing what's gonna win out.
Yeah, and then you start talking about canonical at that point. If you're worried about two pages being too duplicate of each other, you could consider canonical tags so you can tell Google which one is the primary page.
Especially if you have pages that exist that are virtually the same, or could be in Google's eyes because of industry. It's the same exact page content, but it needs to exist for, say, healthcare versus finance versus insurance versus, and that's working with your internal business process people.
Right. Another big one in here is you guys touched on it last week. Is meta description length, and we've been getting played with by Google on that one, and it was at 160 characters, and then it jumped up to 300, and everyone's like, yeah, we're going 300, everybody do it! And then they jump back down to 160. And the takeaway from that is front load your descriptions. Keep it, if you've got those long ones in there, that's okay, but make sure the important data is front loaded. If Google likes what you have there, they're still going to take it, and they'll show that front end of the description. It'll be truncated, but as long as the good information is up front, you're going to be good to go still.
I would agree. Did you have anything to add on that, Ashley? I mean, you went in depth. So other than say, go listen to episode 46 of the Redirect podcast, but
yeah, I'd say that's it. And we've seen too that some descriptions are still displaying more than 2 lines on SERPs, so you just never know what you're going to get. Basically. So
in the world of Google tests, it's hard to keep up, and that's why our industry exists.
That's good.
And that's what I have there.
Awesome.
Cool.
Those are good things.
Yeah, those are. It gets geeky. It's super geeky doing a site analysis, but you can learn so much by just going through the basics.
Yeah, and I think you can use some of the tools, like a Moz crawler. SEMrush does a good job too, where there's a more graphical user interface that's going to give you an output to say, hey, there's, we found these 15, critical meta crawler errors or meta errors, and it's you're missing page titles, you're missing descriptions. They're going to provide you with insights on what you need to do there. You still need to have the technical aptitude on how to deploy them, how to write and develop them, doing your keyword research and things like that. Where a tool like a Screaming Frog, even a Deep Crawl, or you combine those data sets, are going to be probably a little bit more geared toward an SEO practitioner, who really wants to get deep in the weeds and starts to make performance changes and things like that. And then your next step, beyond doing crawls and things like that, is starting to look at the server side. And going and doing log file analysis and really understand how Google's crawling your site. Super deep. Stuff. Yeah. So, all right, Ashley, I'm looking at you now.
All right. Well, speaking of tools, another Google tool just underwent a redesign. Google Trends. So this is a great tool for seeing what's trending on a national level, state level, even a regional level if the data is there, different lengths of time, and even comparing search terms to see what might be used more nationally or in a specific region. And it's great for having a visual look at the data, for lack of a better word. And that just made me remember too, Jason, you had written a blog post a while back on how natural disasters have impacted search over time, and there were some great Google Trends snapshots in there too to see compared search queries for the different hurricanes that we were looking at. So it's a great tool. So I guess I just wanted to share that update, and they say that they've made it more easy to navigate and have some updates. I didn't really like clicking around. I didn't really see a whole lot of difference. I'd say the UI is a little different.
It's definitely improved. I think the big changes there are comparing it, when you start to do comparisons. So doing comparisons of search terms versus interests, because they're pulling in interests and things like that from. I would say that some of this data is tied heavily to AdWords. And the GDN, the Google Display Network, breakdown by subregions is interesting. So, say I want to look at one keyword phrase versus another one based on state and region data, and then if you have something that is of maybe larger interest. You'll also see similar searches as well. As Ashley's computer sounds like it's going to take off over here. This is great.
The other thing that I saw was that they had thrown in all of their year in search data going back to 2001 so people could see how searches change over time. So just for fun, I wanted to take a look at that 2001.
Oh, what is it? What is it? Wait, can you guess? Yes, 2000. There's obviously a one world-changing event in 2001. I don't know if that has impacted it.
Yeah, I actually don't see. Well, World Trade Center is number 3 on top trending globally. Okay. So I'm looking at global data here. What cracked me up is that for the list for consumer brands, number 1 is Nokia. So we got Nokia, Sony, BMW, Palm, and Adobe.
Palm is in Palm Pilot?
Yeah.
Nice.
And then the other one that cracked me up was most searched MP3 music services. We have Morpheus.
Morpheus.
Napster. Nutella, Gnutella. I don't know if you guys remember that one. Kazaa.
Oh, yeah. You didn't use. I never used any of these.
Been kicked off all of them.
Never used any of these.
It's just... very enlightening.
Yeah, I definitely was one of those victims of Napster in the Metallica thing.
Did you see, I am fascinated by the musical groups and the original boy bands in here. It's everything from NSYNC and the Backstreet Boys to the Beatles.
And Linkin Park.
Yeah, well, you know, and U2. All boy bands.
All boy bands.
All boy. You see the trend.
Did you just categorize the Beatles as a boy band?
I mean, they're boys in a band.
It's true. I mean, on a technicality.
Well, you certainly wouldn't have been able to find any of the Beatles music on Napster or Morpheus, probably, but although you could. So Windows XP.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. We'll have to share the 2001.
I just think it's so fun to look back at these and just have that little snapshot of what was going on in the world and what was popular and based on search. But yeah, Google Trends is a great tool to use for visualizing data and for your own research, and then also to be able to share data with your audience too.
Well, I think what's interesting too is there's a trend in there on Amazon. So top retailers, Amazon. 2001, I believe, fourth quarter 2001 was when Amazon posted up their first profit. Actually, too. The only reason I know that is from reading a book. So it's not one of those weird pieces of information.
Were they diversified outside of books at that point yet?
Slightly, yes.
Okay.
Slightly, yes. Wow. Yeah. I mean, they went public in 97.
Right.
So kind of interesting if you think about where you were at in 97.
Right.
You don't have to answer that to date yourself. So I will say that the video games, I was not a huge video game person, but Wolfenstein is on there, and I may have played some Wolfenstein back in the day. So.
Yeah.
Dang.
Fun stuff.
Awesome. So check that out. Google Trends has become a little bit more of, I think, an authoritative source. I think when it first came out, it was very subjective. It still could be subjective, as is a lot of things in search, but much like, did you cite a Wikipedia source or not because it's publicly, contributed. But I think that using Google Trends is great to be able to make a case and to show exactly what it's designed for, which is what's the trend over time.
Yeah.
So if you're ever curious about what's happening in your industry, go and drop your industry into that, or industry keywords into Google Trends and see, does that line up with your sales data? Does it line up with what's going on in your world. So that's really great. I'm glad to see they made changes there. Gonna switch 180, go back to a little bit more of the technical stuff like Pat was talking about. I'm going to talk about robots.txt files.
Oh, that was one of the items on here that we didn't discuss.
No. Yeah. So good tie-in.
Yeah, for sure.
What are they? How they're used, and why you should care about it. We'll kind of wrap that all together here.
That fits along great. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a couple really great resources that are available. I don't need to reinvent this wheel, but robots.txt file, essentially it's a file that you or your web developer, depending on what stage of your technical aptitude you're in. So it's a text file that should have been created, and it acts as a roadmap for search engines. For the bots, it helps them in guiding them through and crawling your site. So many times it's used to tell a bot whether or not they can access or index particular pages, because some pages we may not want to have indexed, like your admin access to your CMS or however you log into your website, or maybe it's a shopping cart, right? You don't necessarily want them to index the shopping cart, or certain things like that.
Files,
Yeah, particular folders, subfolders that aren't really necessary for indexing purposes. They just don't they clutter it up otherwise. So big things are, your robots TXT file should be found in the top level directory of your site. If nowhere else, if it's anywhere else, it's not going to be found. That's where most bots know to go to look, and that's everybody from Google to Facebook. Facebook's bot even knows if they go to a site, they're crawling a site, because Facebook does that. They even know to go and look there. They could help prevent what we talked about before, any duplication of content that could get indexed. So, very much this notion that, yes, I know these are duplicated, but, don't do this, don't look at this. You can have, you certainly want to have your sitemap included in your robots TXT file, or indicate the location of it. A lot of times it could be found at the bottom of the file. It just depends on the structure. Subdomain and root domains can use a separate robots.txt file. But also there was something recently that came out, I think it was on Search Engine Roundtable this week. There was some back and forth with John Mueller from Google about having other domain sitemaps in the robots.txt file. So like if you have a country code, a ccTLD, so a .eu, .au. John said it sounds like, reading from Twitter, it sounds like you have a shared robots.txt file across domains. That shouldn't be a problem. We might show those cross-domain URLs as errors in search consoles, but if they're on all domains, that should work regardless. So that's interesting that Google can decipher the difference. I don't know why you would have a shared robots.txt file set up, but nonetheless, Google's saying that that's okay. I would certainly not ever see us recommending that. So they are publicly available. Most cases, you should be able to go to most sites and look at the robots.txt file. So good and bad, because that means that anyone who's smart enough can go and see what pages you do or don't want to be crawled. So if there's anything that you want to hide private user database from, there's that. Getting back to the root of why do we need robots.txt files. So we talked about preventing duplicate content, keeping internal search results pages from showing up. So when you get like question marks and strings and things like that in there, that can be a real easy way to go and do it, where you might have those search queries canonicalized. Why not just go in and say, well, don't index anything past search string? Because it's going to be duplicate results. It's going to be, again, Jeep Wrangler part XYZ. with a search query, with a search string, and that can happen 50 times.
Yeah, and those characters on those URLs get hundreds of characters long.
Yep. The other big one that I know some larger sites will take advantage of is crawl delay. And in order to, maybe you're trying to throttle what kind of activity your server sees so it doesn't get overloaded. So if you have a site that's extremely, extremely active, like Moz's Learn SEO uses BuzzFeed as an example, or something like that, or I'm Mashable, or I'm trying to pick on some, or any news site, right? That's going to get hammered a ton and constantly updated. Google's probably going through those multiple times a day, or various bots are. Basically, you can throttle it to say, well, I want to give special treatment to Google, so you get to go first, Google, and Yahoo, you have to wait 4 milliseconds. So when the page loads, you have to wait. So checking if you have a robots.txt file, simply add /robots.txt to the end of your URL, and you should be able to see it. If your TXT page does not appear, you currently do not have a live TXT page. So you can create one. CMSs will output them. WordPress will, especially if you're using the Yoast. Most people are familiar with the Yoast SEO plugin, SEO for WordPress. You can modify that through there. There are other tools available, specifically directly right from Google. You can do a creation and test within Google Webmaster Tools as well. So should be noted that there is a difference between robots.txt versus meta robots versus robots. The robots.txt is an actual text file, and where the others are looking more at directives. So they're looking at, they have different functions. So you're looking at site or directory wide versus individual page elements, if that makes sense. So nonetheless, we'll share some good resources and insights there, and maybe we'll have to go a little bit deeper and actually author a blog post that's specific around this site type of setup there as I fumble through that. So, yeah. But, all right, cool. So a lot of things. GDPR, man, I hope you have your Google Analytics settings changed up there. Why doing crawl tests and crawls on your site are important, and certainly probably the first steps in heading down the technical SEO analysis portion. How can we use Google Trends to understand what's going on in your industry, our industry, various places in the world throughout the U.S., and then robots.txt files. So check out the show notes, listen to previous episodes of the Redirect podcast, and until next time, good luck.
This has been the Redirect Podcast. Check out the show notes at blacktruckmedia.com and add us on iTunes and Stitcher.